If you're a man over 60, listen closely, because the fruit you reach for each morning, yes, the one you've always believed was good for you, could be quietly sabotaging your erections, gradually, consistently, one day at a time. You may think you're fueling your body in a healthy way, but internally, something entirely different is unfolding. Blood flow is slowing down. Testosterone levels are dipping, and your masculine performance, it's fading, even though you don't see the cause. I'm Dr. Girag Mihai. For more than 30 years, I've guided men toward reclaiming their sexual vitality naturally. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to take back what age and misleading health habits have been stealing from you. Because what I'm about to share isn't just about fruit, it's about truth. The truth about 7 specific fruits you must avoid each morning if you truly want to protect your erections, your stamina, and your confidence. Most men have never been warned about these fruits. In fact, many proudly eat them, thinking they're making the right choice. But science tells a very different story. And once you learn what's actually happening, you'll never see breakfast the same way again. Stay with me, because fruit number 5, it's found in nearly every home, and it's quietly doing more harm than you think. Let's uncover what's really going on with your breakfast and how you can reclaim the performance you deserve. Before we begin, if protecting your manhood matters to you and you value clear, science-backed advice for men over 60, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. I share direct, actionable tips that can reshape how you age and how you perform. And if this resonates, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I can tailor future videos better for you. All right, let's begin. The very first fruit you need to be cautious with, especially if you're serious about rebuilding your strength, might be sitting right on your kitchen counter. It's easy, it's familiar, and it's long been called healthy. But when it comes to your sexual function, it could be quietly working against you. I'm talking about bananas, especially when they're overly ripe. Fruit 1. Bananas, especially overripe ones. I'll admit, this one surprised even me. For most of my life, I believed bananas were the perfect breakfast food. Quick, simple, loaded with potassium. But what I didn't realize, and what many older men still haven't, is that ripe bananas, soft and sweet, might be slowly weakening their firmness. Here's what really happens. As bananas ripen, their sugar concentration rises sharply. That soft banana you toss into your oatmeal or blend into a smoothie floods your bloodstream with fast-acting sugar. And when that happens first thing in the morning, it sends insulin soaring. For men over 60, that insulin rush becomes a serious disruptor. It behaves like a hormonal bully, lowering testosterone, reducing nitric oxide production, and inflaming the very vessels that control erection strength. You think you're energizing your system, but in truth, you're draining it. The danger isn't immediate, it's gradual. One day, you wake up less firm than usual, then again the next week. Eventually, you assume it's just getting older. But it's not your age, it's your breakfast. If you truly enjoy bananas, here's the fix. Never eat them on an empty stomach, and don't eat them alone. If you must have one, eat it later in the day, and always combine it with protein or healthy fat to soften the sugar hit. Otherwise, you're inviting hormonal imbalance that your system can't recover from like it once could. And if you thought bananas were risky, wait until you see the next fruit. It's tiny, sweet, looks innocent, but it's one of the most common foods quietly cutting off your blood flow. If you're still watching and this is opening your eyes, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're following along. Now, let's talk about fruit number 2. Fruit 2. Grapes. Grapes were once one of my go-to snacks. I'd grab a handful straight from the fridge, thinking I was choosing something light and healthy, and for years, I didn't question it. But what I eventually discovered, both as a doctor and as a man in his 60s, completely changed how I view those small purple fruits. Here's what you need to know. Grapes are extremely high in natural sugar, far more than their size suggests. They're mostly water and sugar, which means they digest very fast. So, when you eat them early in the morning, on an empty stomach, they hit your bloodstream almost instantly, sending your blood sugar levels soaring. And every time your blood sugar spikes, insulin has to rush in to fix it. That's your body's normal response. But for men over 60, that insulin surge does more than stabilize sugar. It suppresses testosterone and narrows blood vessels that control erections. Repeated morning after morning, this cycle leads to slow, silent damage. Your performance dips, your drive fades, and you start to feel less like yourself, without realizing that a handful of grapes might be part of the reason. If you still enjoy grapes, my suggestion is simple. Avoid eating them early in the day. Save them for later, preferably after a protein-heavy meal, when your blood sugar is already steady. That way, you can still enjoy them without compromising your blood flow or confidence. But don't go anywhere yet, because the next fruit isn't one you chew, it's one you drink. And millions of men start their morning with it, believing it's doing wonders for their health. But in truth, it's one of the most destructive choices for your erections, and it's sitting in your refrigerator right now. Fruit 3. Orange juice. There was a time when a chilled glass of orange juice felt like the perfect way to start the morning. I remember pouring it beside my breakfast, thinking I was giving my body a boost. Vitamin C, right? It felt refreshing, light, maybe even energizing. But here's the truth. That familiar routine was quietly working against me. And if you're a man over 60 still starting your mornings with orange juice, listen closely. Orange juice is not the wholesome option it's been advertised to be. It isn't a true fruit anymore. It's liquid sugar. In fact, one small glass can pack nearly as much sugar as a can of soda. And when you drink it on an empty stomach, with no fiber, fat, or protein to buffer it, that sugar rushes straight into your bloodstream. The result? A sharp sugar surge. And following close behind, a powerful insulin response. Here's the critical part. That insulin wave doesn't just balance sugar, it also suppresses testosterone and constricts blood vessels essential for a firm erection. Over time, that healthy breakfast drink becomes a daily assault on your vitality. You may feel energized for a moment, but by mid-morning, you crash. Your energy dips, your motivation fades, and your performance continues to slip until you start thinking it's simply age. But it's not. It's what's in your glass. If you still enjoy citrus, skip the juice. Eat the whole orange instead. The natural fiber slows the sugar's entry, helping your body absorb nutrients without the blood sugar chaos. Or better yet, start your day with plain water. Then wait until after a protein-focused meal before eating any fruit. Now, what comes next might surprise you, because it's a fruit many men think actually supports erections. And while that can be true, when eaten the wrong way, it can secretly sabotage your performance. Fruit 4. Watermelon in excess. This one hits close, because like many men, I once believed watermelon was a natural booster for male health. I'd heard about its L-citrulline content, known for improving circulation. So I'd eat huge slices on warm afternoons, convinced I was helping my body. But what I didn't realize, and what many men over 60 still don't, is that eating watermelon the wrong way, especially early in the day or in large amounts, can quietly work against you. Here's why. Watermelon is over 90% water, but it's also rich in natural sugars and carries a high glycemic load. So when you eat it first thing, particularly on an empty stomach, it floods your bloodstream with sugar almost immediately. That sugar rush triggers the same hormonal domino effect we've been talking about. Insulin spikes, testosterone suppression, reduced nitric oxide production. The very blood flow your body depends on for a strong erection, it gets interrupted before your day even begins. Even worse, watermelon digests so fast, it doesn't keep you satisfied. By mid-morning, you're hungry again, craving more sugar. That constant cycle drains energy, dulls mood, and chips away at your confidence. And the most deceptive part? You might never suspect that the quiet decline in performance is coming from a fruit you thought was helping you. If you enjoy watermelon, I'm not saying eliminate it. Just use moderation. Never eat it first thing in the morning. Have a few slices after a protein-rich lunch, when your blood sugar is already stable. That's when your body can process it best without harming your results. If you thought watermelon was misleading, wait until you see the next one. It's tropical, it's sweet, and it might be the most dangerous fruit yet for your testosterone and long-term erection health. If this information is hitting home and helping you connect the dots, type 1 in the comments so I know you're with me. Now, let's continue and uncover the fifth fruit that may be working against you. Fruit 5. Mangoes. I'll be honest, mangoes have always been one of my personal favorites. They're rich, soft, and instantly remind me of warm summer mornings. For years, I never thought twice about it. I'd slice one up and eat it at breakfast, feeling like I was doing something good for myself. But here's what I eventually learned, something that changed how I approach every mango to this day. Mangoes are loaded with fructose, a form of sugar that goes straight to your liver. Now, if you're younger and active, your body can usually handle that sugar hit. But once you're past 60, when insulin sensitivity declines and your liver's working harder, that same sugar surge becomes a real problem. Excess fructose from mangoes contributes to fatty liver buildup, which has been directly linked to lower testosterone. And when testosterone drops, so does your ability to maintain strength, drive, and firm erections. It doesn't end there. The high sugar load spikes your blood glucose, causing another insulin surge, and once again disturbing the hormones and blood flow your body relies on for sexual performance. Because mangoes digest so quickly, they also fail to keep you full, leading to those midday crashes and sluggish energy. So, if, like me, you enjoy mangoes, treat them as an occasional dessert. Have them in small portions and only after lunch, once your blood sugar and hormones are steady. But avoid eating them alone in the morning. That's when the harm strikes hardest. Fruit 6. Pineapple. Pineapple has always carried that aura of health and freshness. It's colorful, tropical, full of flavor. For years, I genuinely believed it was one of the best foods I could start my day with. Refreshing, full of nutrients, and supposedly good for digestion. But what I didn't realize, and what many men over 60 still overlook, is that pineapple may be quietly sabotaging your erection health. It doesn't seem harmful, and that's exactly what makes it so deceptive. Here's the truth. Pineapple packs a surprisingly high amount of natural sugar, far more than most expect. Just a single cup can contain more than 16 grams of sugar and very little fiber to slow its absorption. When you eat pineapple early in the day, especially on an empty stomach, it triggers a powerful hormonal reaction. Blood sugar rises, insulin spikes, and within minutes, your body begins dealing with inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and reduced nitric oxide output. That last one is critical. Nitric oxide is the molecule that supports circulation and erection strength. And when nitric oxide drops, so does your vitality as a man. As we age, our body's ability to manage sugar weakens. That means your recovery from these spikes becomes slower. So even a fruit that seems healthy, like pineapple, can slowly chip away at your performance, bit by bit, week by week. You may not notice it right away, but over time, the difference becomes clear. One morning you wake up and something feels off. Your drive lessens, your response weakens, and almost no one connects it back to pineapple. If you truly enjoy it, don't eliminate it altogether. Just enjoy it in moderation, after lunch or dinner when your system is better prepared for the sugar. Never eat it first thing in the morning, and definitely don't make it a daily breakfast ritual. Now, what I'm about to share might shock you even more, because the final fruit on this list doesn't even look threatening. It's small, it's dried, and it's marketed as a clean, wholesome snack. But for men over 60, this next one might be one of the worst foods you're still eating without realizing it. Fruit 7. Dried fruit. Raisins, dates, apricots. If there's one group of fruits that misled me the most, it's dried fruit. Raisins, dates, apricots. They've always appeared like smart, natural snacks, easy to pack, labeled as high fiber and nutrient-rich. I used to toss a handful into my morning oatmeal, or munch on them with coffee, thinking I was doing something positive for my health. But over time, both as a doctor and as a man navigating this stage of life, I realized that these tiny fruits can actually do serious harm where it matters most. Here's the simple truth. Dried fruit is concentrated sugar disguised as healthy food. Once the water is removed, what's left is a dense form of fructose with almost no fiber to slow down its absorption. Your body processes it almost like candy, especially if eaten alone, on an empty stomach. And for men over 60, that quick sugar hit sets off a damaging pattern. Insulin surges, inflammation rises, testosterone drops, and blood vessels start tightening. You may not notice it instantly, but if you've been seeing your morning firmness fading, these healthy dried snacks might be one hidden reason why. The real issue is that dried fruit feels innocent. It seems like a natural, light snack. But eaten by itself, without protein or healthy fats, your body reacts as if you just had candy for breakfast. If you enjoy dried fruit, here's my honest advice. Keep your portions small. Always eat them after a balanced meal that includes protein and fat, and never use them as a standalone morning food. Now, we've talked about what to avoid, but here's the exciting part. There are other fruits, simple, natural ones, that can do the exact opposite. Fruits that boost testosterone, enhance nitric oxide, and help rebuild erection quality naturally. Let's explore those next. What you need to do today. I know this might feel like a lot, especially if these fruits have been part of your breakfast routine for years, maybe even decades. Trust me, I understand completely. I was in that same place once. For most of my adult life, I truly believed I was eating clean. I thought I was doing everything right. I never stopped to connect what I was putting on my morning plate with what was slowly fading from my life. My energy, my focus, my ability to perform the way I once did. But over time, I began to notice the pattern, not just in myself, but in man after man who walked into my clinic. And the truth became crystal clear. These so-called healthy fruits weren't helping. They were silently eroding erection strength, one blood sugar spike at a time, not through obvious symptoms, but through small, gradual losses. A little less drive, a little more fatigue, and eventually, that quiet belief that this is just what aging feels like. But it's not. Here's the encouraging part. You don't have to change your entire life overnight, but you do need to begin. Starting tomorrow morning, remove those 7 fruits we talked about from your breakfast. Replace them with foods that steady your blood sugar and support blood flow. Think simple, natural choices. Eggs, avocado, unsweetened Greek yogurt, and berries, in moderation. Drink water first thing, not juice. Most importantly, pay attention to your body's signals, because it will respond, and often faster than you expect. You may notice within days clearer energy, fewer crashes, and stronger reactions. And before long, you might wake up one morning and realize you feel like yourself again. 9. Conclusion. Let's bring everything together. If you've made it this far, thank you for your time, for your curiosity, and for caring enough to question what you've always been told about healthy eating. Because here's the real truth. The 7 fruits we discussed today, bananas, grapes, orange juice, watermelon, mangoes, pineapple, dried fruits, they look innocent, they sound healthy, but for men over 60, they can quietly work against you. Your body no longer processes sugar the same way it once did, and what seems like a light, refreshing breakfast can slowly chip away at your testosterone, your circulation, and your confidence in the bedroom. I've seen this happen repeatedly, not just in patients, but in my own life. And I've also witnessed how quickly things can change once you start taking small, deliberate steps. This isn't about fear. It's about freedom. You're not broken. You're not too late. You've just been following outdated advice. But now you know better, and that knowledge puts you back in control. So tomorrow morning, make a new choice. Skip the sugary fruits. Choose real nourishment instead. You'll notice it in your focus, your drive, your energy, and soon in your erections too. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. And remember, this is just one part of a larger journey. There are other foods, and yes, even certain fruits that can increase blood flow, raise testosterone, and reignite that inner fire. We'll explore those next, because your vitality, your masculinity, and your health are worth rebuilding. One mindful morning at a time. Gentlemen, if today's video helped you protect your health, your confidence, or your energy, you can now say thanks in a special way. Just click the thanks button below the video. Your support helps me share more tips that keep men strong and healthy well past 60, and I truly appreciate every single one of you.